What's going on, everyone? Thanks for stopping by. Just welcome to the channel if it's your first time here. Today we're going to get into installing some King bump stops for the rear. So I recently installed Archive Garage, the rear extended travel, built by Bruno here locally. I'm kind of in that north central Florida area. I recommend him if you're here. You can find him on Instagram, either built by Bruno or MGM Yoda. I'll have links to his stuff kind of down below. Also, if you are kind of down south of central Orlando, there's Timbo's Customs kind of down south. I've worked with him before too. Great guy. Both of them do a great job. They know what they're doing. I fully trust them to work on the truck when it comes to welding any parts or anything like that. So that out of the way, since I got the Archive Garage kit, which by the way, love them. Go check them out if you're interested in doing anything with rear travel. Archive Garage is pretty cool. So the rear axle, since it flexes so much now, my tire will hit the inside of the shock. So kind of several ways to combat that is you can add spacers, which I did. I already have wheels with a decent offset, kind of not enough. Once I was flexing off-road, on the first time I took it out, I did hit the shocks. So I ended up installing spacers. Now that I have the spacers there, I want to be able to maximize how much flex I can actually get. And that's where these bump stops come into play. Because I have the U-bolt flip kit, and I think it was Timbrin setup with the U-bolt flip kit, and then their bump stop, and I'm hitting already the frame, and I still have more room to go. So what I'm trying to do is figure out to get that like perfect little setup where I get as much as I can in flex, and then not hit the frame, and then not hit also the shock. So we're gonna work through that today, get these installed. The kit I went with was the King's kit, because I'm all kinged out, so that's what I went with. I did do a little bit of work on these. There's an extra piece here with mounts for like a resi. Since I have the extended travel, I'm never going to use that, so I cut that off. I kind of smoothed out the edges. Let's see what else I can think of. Let me get you a photo. So this is what that extended travel kit looks like. So you can see that right here. And here are some photos of me out on the first time I took it out, where you can see my tire is already hitting the shock, and I still have a lot more flex to go. So that's why we're going to do this. I should say also with that, since I have the U-bolt flip kit, I'm not using their strike pad that comes with this. I have like an upper mount that ties into the leaves. We're going to flip it a little bit so that you can see it kind of pokes out a little bit, and that should hit the shock, which we'll test all of that here in the future. And then here coming up soon, I'll be able to rock this off-road and figure out exactly, what I got out of it. So stick around. Should be kind of fun. We got to remove some rivets. You do have to remove the upper bump stop mount that's on the truck, so that should be a little fun. It is going to be some work because we all hate rivets, but I kind of got an idea, a little trick that we can use that I want to show you how to get them out pretty easily. So hang out. I'm going to get you under the truck real quick. I'm going to get it all set up, pop the wheels off, and I'll get you under the truck. Alright, so here we are. So we're going to do the driver's side first, which goes against what I normally say, but I like the lighting over here better today. So this is the trim brim bump stop. So what I was trying to say before, by going by this photo here, I can almost have this hitting here, and I still have a lot more room in my shaft and a lot more room in that shaft. So there's more room for it to flex. That's why we're getting rid of this and installing the new bumps. And if you look right here, this is the part that we're going to be removing, because this is the old kind of strike pad from the stock bump stops. And then there's 2 rivets here and 2 rivets down here, and these rivet holes are the holes lined up for the mount. So you're going to basically get rid of the rivets and drill them out if we need to, and then also down here and install the bolts through there. I got my resi just mounted right there for now. I do recommend, like, if you do any type of off-roading, I'm a huge fan of having as little as possible hanging underneath the axle, which is why I like the U-bolt flip kits, this is how I ran all my other trucks. Always had this setup, nothing hanging down. On this side, you can't see it right now, but I'll show you. There's a little strike pad here, right? When I installed these, normally you would have the strike pad out. I put them in because the bump stop is here. Most of the time, once the bump stop sticks out, the strike pad comes this way. So we're gonna get these off first. These are 19s. I did clean them, so that's why they look a little shiny. So we can pop these off real quick. Also, it's nice to be able to get an impact in here, and obviously right now I can't, right? So what I like to do is, let me move this because I see it's gonna hit. When I set this up, I like to leave my jack stands on the frame and then leave your jack on the pumpkin, right? So basically I'm gonna do is just drop the pumpkin a little bit so I can get my impact in here, which will make this a lot easier to take off. Then we'll remove these, flip these over, and then this will be set for us to start working on the rivets. So let me lower this a little. So you can see the difference here. See how it's flat here, and this is the strike pad here. I will say, I know somebody out there is going to be like, hey, when you remove these, you should put new ones. And I will say, I agree. Just one time isn't enough for me. If I was going to do it again, second or third time, I would seriously consider changing them. One time, I'm okay. These do stretch. So if you saw me put them back, I put them back exactly the way where they go. That way I can make sure they go back in the same spot. So now I'm going to just remove this bump stop from here. It's these bolts right here hold this on here, and then I'll be able to just put this plate back like this. I really don't know if the bump stop is going to hit this strike here because I'm not sure it comes out further enough or far enough. If it doesn't, I will replace it later on. I'm going to get these off. You guys are going to watch that. I got the driver's side off too. They're both kind of at paint right now because I just touched them up because they were looking pretty gnarly. We're going to start here with these two. I did, as a precaution, take a moving blanket, kind of throw it up, tuck it up into here where the gas tank is, because there's going to be a lot of sparks flying on these bottom two. But just know I am wearing eyes and ears, so I do recommend it. I have had issues with my eyes before, and it was my shooting eye, so I almost lost it. I don't mess around with it anymore. So yeah, let's start removing these. So for these, I first start with a cutting wheel. Once I get them ground down pretty good, I put a flapper disc on and knock out the flapper disc. I do recommend if you have two angle grinders, it's great because you don't got to keep switching back and forth. So I picked up a cheap one from Harbor Freight. It's been working awesome. Phone is caked. Love it. All right, so this one's pretty much good to start kind of prying behind it. Before I come back and I get you guys in there, I'm going to go do the other side real quick and I'll come back, and that way we can just work with this side. So where we at right now is kind of right where I wanted to be. I have these two kind of top ones released. The inner rivet is still there. I want to keep that there because what I want to do is remove this bracket while the inner rivets are kind of still there. So what I mean by inner is the ones on the inside, right? So what we're going to do is pull this bracket off, sand these down flush to the frame, all four of them, and then punch them straight through. It's a lot less drilling. I mean, getting these off right now was not easy. Really this one because, I got stuff blocking me, but it can be done. Let's try to just bend this bracket down and see how easy this bends. Sometimes these are difficult because they already have a bend in them, but we're going to give it a shot. All right, perfect. So here is, let me back this up here. So here's what we basically removed, right? Now what you see here is what's left over of the rivet, and then what most people will do right now, right? See that right there? It's coming out about 1/8 of an inch, right? What most people will do right now is go ahead and try to kind of drill this out. What I want to do is get this flush to the frame, all four, and then I'm going to punch them through because once they're flush, there's very little material of the rivet left holding it. So we're going to just kind of sand these all down with a flapper disc and then punch them through. So let's see how that works. Let me get the flapper disc out. All right, now that they've all been sanded down flush to the frame, what I'm going to try to do now is come in with my hammer right in the center and see if I can get that rivet to just pop out on the other side. It makes drilling this a lot easier. So what I'm doing right here is just trying to get a nice center hole so that way when I do get the hammer in, it stays in the center because sometimes it will run. You can drill a little hole with a smaller drill bit if you want it, just to keep that, that pointy punch in where it should be, right in the center. So there you should be able to see how well that works. I'm not gonna do I'm not gonna film the lower two because those are like a huge pain. I gotta come up from the bottom, but same concept. They're sanded down, just gonna get pushed through. All right, so before we put everything back on and I paint, I'm just gonna test fit. So no drilling of the rivets, which is nice. Once you push them through, I can confirm that the bolts do go through all the holes, which is nice. And then quick little test fit on these holes. And if you look at these pieces, they're kind of offset. One of them drops down. That one that part goes to the front to follow the frame. And if you look, right there. It looks like I'm gonna have to make a couple little cuts right here, which is always why you want to test this before you throw anything on, because I'm trying to line up the holes here. It looks like there is just maybe a tiny little piece right here in this corner that is getting hit by where this is welded down in here. And I don't want to remove any of that weld. That weld to me is important. So what I'm gonna end up doing is just putting a little notch right in here. So I'm gonna mark it real quick where I want it and then cut a little notch. And we're talking, man, maybe less than 1/4 of an inch. So that notch should be pretty small. Let me mark that real quick. You really can't get upset with any of these manufacturers when you're just full of mods and you're the one that has a ton of mods. So they can't make everything work for every application all the time. So we're talking, I'm gonna notch right here. Probably, I'm gonna give myself enough just for a little wiggle room. So that line right there, and then probably just gonna come up. You see that? I'm gonna come up to about like right here. So we're gonna remove this little chunk right here. All right, I'll be right back. So yeah, that's what I'm removing right there. All right, there's the notch, and I'll be honest with you, I kind of screwed up right here. The kind of rode off on me here, and it was because I had a hole in my pants at the knees, and that first cut just sent all the shards flying down my pants. So it was great. But here you can see, put them right in. Holes seem to line up pretty good. The one I'm looking at like is a tiny little bit off is this back hole here. But other than that, everything else seems all right. Let me, I might actually, just to get a tiny little bit more, I might actually just come back and kind of hit this, not with the cutter, kind of with the flapper disc, just to really fine tune it. I will be right back. All right, second little test fit, kind of smooth this out a little bit right there. Let's see. Ooh, that's better. I like that. Now we can kind of, boom, center it right there. All right, cool. I'm gonna get the bottom bolts on first, just give it a test fit, make sure that those all go in, and then we will remove it and paint. So let me just do this real quick. That one went, and that one went as well. And then I will say, I think it's a good idea to get the bottom bolts on first and then come in with the top one. So let me get this painted. I normally have some type of just flat black paint liner on. Today I don't, so I'm just going to use this Rust-Oleum truck bed liner. It wants to work, but sometimes they want to be a pain in the... There we go. Sometimes if it acts up and it doesn't want to work, flip it upside down. It'll really kind of pour out all the garbage in there. This is what I'm looking for. Awesome. There it is. Finally got enough out. All right, I like that. All right, it's fairly dry. I kind of like putting stuff on when it's not all the way dry anyways. That way it'll kind of dry all on there together. So let's see. Oh, it's always something. That one has the brake bracket in the way. I just want to get one of these on here just so that I can hold it in place. So I can get the bottom one up. Let's see. There we go. That one will be a little easier. All right. My bad. Get in front of the camera. Getting all handsy with it. Do this real quick. It's really perfect. Well, let me just hold it there for a second while I get the bottom ones through. So something I should say that I really do like the way that it looks, you know, without that extra piece up here that I cut off, because it would be like another flap. Now, let me, shit, I didn't notice. I really like the way it looks like this without that extra piece up here. It would be like another flap up here with just mounting holes for no reason. So I like the way this came out. It's, you know, right inside of the frame, so it didn't go above the frame, which is cool. And I think once we tighten it down, it's going to come up a little bit and look really good, like it was meant to be there like that. So digging that. All right, let me finish this. Let's see if we can. This one I gotta get my fingers back behind. There's like, I got brake lines and mounts here, so I might actually on this one have to get inside of here because I can't get my fingers in there to see it just right. But this one, when I put it in, I didn't remove both washers, so I gotta run this one through again. Just take off the rear washer here. All right. Man, it is so hot today. Almost didn't want to do this. I've just been pushing this off. It's getting hotter and hotter every day. So I finally was like, enough. We got to get it done. All right, let me see if I can get this one in. It's really probably going to be the only problem is going to be on this side. There's this whole brake line bracket is sitting right here, and it holds the lines in. So just getting everything in at the right angle, trying to hold it is a little rough. All right, I'm going to get this one in. I'm going to struggle with this. You guys are going to watch me. I'll be right back. All right, guys, everything here is hammered in nice and tight. Got to give them props. So both the bolt and the nut were 16s, which is lovely. These are hammered in. I tightened these down in the bottom first, then came up and did the top ones, and then just kind of rolling back down here. Got the plate on. These are bolted down kind of tight. I have not torqued them yet, but that's coming down the pipe. Like I said before, if you constantly take these on and off, these U-bolts, go ahead and just replace them. 1 time, 2 times, not so bad. Once you get into that 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times of removing these, they really do start to stretch. So it's just kind of safe to put new ones. They're not that expensive. But I want to show you, here was the strike pad that originally was facing in. Now it's facing out because the bump stop is now facing out. So kind of works out. Look at the bump stop in here, and we will take it from there. And then our driver's side is almost done. All right, so while we're here, I kind of want you to take a look. Let me back this up a little bit. Looking at the bump stop, right? This is your bottom brace that goes, you're going to drop this. You're going to actually push it up into the mount like this. Because if you look, so this one kind of goes on the top, but I wanted to share with you, there's a lip here where the actual mount is going to sit into, and then you also have set screws, right? And this is adjustable. So according to their instructions, it's a good idea to just start with about 1 inch gap here, and then you will be able to kind of fine tune as you get out there. What I want to do is set up these set screws so that I can see them. I want the valve in the back just because I feel like it'll be the safest there. So we're going to put the valve in the back, and then we're going to line this up as close to I can as 1 inch, but I just want to make sure the set screws, see them right here, right in there. I don't want them to end up like this, right? Because I'm going to have one in the front and then one in the back, and I won't be able to set that one in the back. I'm going to kind of set them to the side like this, which gives me exactly what I want. And then you also have this notch in here, allows you to turn this whole thing, right, when you want to adjust it later on. So moving into kind of put it in, we're going to go like this, set that up in there, make sure it sits in there. Got my set screws where I see them. So I want this just like this. I'm going to drop this in here. Just kind of push that down into there just like that. So essentially, it's kind of sitting right in there just like that. I like this. Let me make sure I really would like to have this guy in the back. But it looks like essentially right about here is where I'm going to let it stay. So that puts that there, that puts that there. Where are my set screws? Get this bottom set screws where I want them. And I like that right there. Perfect. I'm going to tighten this one down. The upper set screws, I'm not too worried about because I feel like at any point, you know, you got room to get these up in here. So again, according to, I can come in here now, according to their instructions, see these little grooves right in here? You can use this groove and like a little hammer, right? With a screwdriver, and really force this one down before you tighten the set screw. So I'm gonna do that right now, and then basically we can throw the tire back onto this side, get our resi back where it belongs, and then this side is pretty much nice and done. So let me go get that screw to hammer this down. I'm still about an inch here, which I'm fine with that. Major difference is here, you know, that bump stop that I had before was kind of really limiting. So looking at this, I almost feel like, so you have to understand too that this moves 2 inches. So it's not only the distance from here to here like it would be with the old. Here, let me do this. It's not just this distance anymore like it would be with the old bump stop, because this moves. So it's whatever it is from here to here and then add another 2 inches. So even though this looks kind of short, you really have a lot of movement here, which is what we were looking for, what we want. So let me get the screwdriver and we're going to hammer this one down. All right, so just a flathead right here, and I'm just going to nice and easy, just like that. I don't want to like mar it or screw it up or anything like that, but just nice and easy. One more, boom. Yeah. Now I'm gonna go tighten down my set screws on both sides, and this one will be good to go. All right. So at this point, this one is pretty good to go. I'm not going to torque down the nuts on the U-bolts just yet until I finish on the other side, but I'm gonna go jump on the other side. All right, everybody, we are almost wrapped up and done. Sitting on the passenger side right now, and you know, to be honest with you, I normally do the passenger side first, and then I come back and I do the driver's side. But I did it backwards this time because I kind of really wanted you guys to see how much of a struggle that other side was. Right from the beginning. So this side went real quick. I think I got this side done in half the time I did that side, just from everything that I learned. So I didn't want to film this one and then everybody thinks that, hey, that's how quick it is. I will say I'm gonna torque these down right now. There's always like some kind of confusion as to the torque specs of these. I think the TSB might have been wrong and backwards. It says 37, but everybody agrees it should be 73, but then everybody also thinks that 73 is way too low. So I'm just going to do 85, which is what I feel comfortable with. And then kind of 85 and a crisscross. I don't want to do 85 here and then 85 here. I'll go back and forth. So I'm going to get these done on both sides. Everything is in and done. Like I said, I did have to notch right here. So I guess we'll go over that. Let me just get these torque specs done. All right, everybody, just like that, it's a wrap. Fairly involved. You know, those rivets are no joke, and it's also like 4,000 degrees out here, so kind of plays a part into how tired I am, how covered in sweat I am. I just want to go jump in the pool right now. But here are, you know, what's left of the brackets. Got them. All the rivets. Like I said, I hope that it came out good in the video. I hope when I edit it, it looks pretty good, because I just want to make sure, instead of drilling, if you guys can punch them through, it just goes so much faster. Even though this is still a long process, if you had to drill those rivets out, it'd be so many more hours. So, you know, we're done and in. They don't show up too much, which I kind of like. So if you need anything, please feel free to drop it down below. Let me know. If you have any questions, again, let me know. Yeah, so if you have any questions, just feel free to drop it down below. I'll get some photos up of what it looks like after. I like the way it looks. It doesn't, like, my tires are so big, it kind of covers them up a little bit so they don't stick out too much. We'll just kind of get a little hint of that. So I kind of like that. Kind of like that. Like my kids like to call it, is low-key flex. So I kind of dig that. Again, if you need anything, let me know. Parts were perfect. Everything was good. One little notch. Hope I got all that well. Also, just thanks a lot for watching, guys. Be good out there. Stay safe.